weekly watch list. On Sundays, we're watching Vice. Actually, that's not true anymore? I have to correct that. Vice season 3 on Showtime just ended. Always a great documentary show, keeps you updated on things that are going on right now. But Vice actually just ended. That should be in the memorial section. The Circus just came back, which is my favorite political show on television. It's actually one of my favorite shows on television. Stylized, fashion, moves quick. Um, the main guy, Heilman, swaggy older white guy, bald as a cue ball. They always make sure that they show his fly kicks as he's walking by, his cool sunglasses. On this last episode, he was there with Kamala Harris, and he was chill with her, was Sano with her, but he held her to the fire a little bit too, which is kind of cool. Homie with the hat, I can't remember right now. He's dope. They're all dope. Alex Wagner just left because she went to MSNBC. Good for her. She did bring something to the show that I think it's missing, but I can't wait to see where they come back up with it. House of the Dragon. I didn't think a new Game of Thrones show was necessary. I understood why they were doing it, but I feel like if you saw what happened with Walking Dead, you saw how easily things can be oversaturated and how they can ruin themselves. They can kill their own buzz. And with the way that Game of Thrones ended, I understand that these series were already in development before the show even ended. But with the way Game of Thrones ended, you expected people to have such a negative view on it that just at the thought of the creation of a new show, that we would turn away. But nah, Sano. Sano, it is fire. It is so good. Oh my, episodes have made me gross. Episodes have made me feel disgusted. Ugh. The emotions that it puts me through. Bueno, Matt Smith, great job. The young girls did a great job. Super creative, the decision to switch the characters halfway through so you can cover this big story. House of Dragon is great. I can't wait till the season is over. Rick and Morty, I actually haven't even watched this week's episode. I keep forgetting it's on. Honestly, it's because the Adult Swim app doesn't exist on my Xbox. So the way I have to watch it is I have to cast it from my iPad to my TV. So I'm not even doing it on my main TV. I'm doing it on the backup TV. So it changes my whole environment and therefore my enjoyment of the show. How I have to watch it. Why is there not an Adult Swim Xbox and PlayStation app? I don't mean to come on these Manic Music Media Mondays on the last Monday of every month and bash an app every time. And this time I'm actually bashing the lack thereof of an app. Technically, I can go on the browser of the Xbox and watch it. This is a factual statement. Technically, you could just have an app too. And then you have last week tonight, as always. Let's buzz through this because we have a lot of things to talk about. On Mondays, it's mostly a wrestling day for me. A few YouTube shows come out. We get the first publish of Cool Mag for the week. Tuesdays are also wrestling shows. Andor just started last week. Star Wars Disney Plus episode. All I'm going to say about it right now is this is the Star Wars that I want to see, that I want to consume. It's why Star Wars Episode 8 was so great. I need more of it. Also a wrestling day for me. On Thursdays we get She-Hulk, which has been very fun and enjoyable. Episodes are so short. Sometimes I wish they dropped 2 at the same time, but still enjoyable, still fun. Atlanta, we're on its last season. If I had continued on Manic Music Media Monday number 7 in February, I would have been talking about the last season of Atlanta. But I really like that even though they made us wait so long for another season, these two have been basically back to back. So fun. Can't wait to talk about it more as it's over. On Fridays, we have C, which is also on its final season. And actually, I could put C on a Thursday list because Apple TV always does this thing where they drop the episode like 3 to 4 hours. Actually, I don't even know what time it drops, but I know by the time I get home, whether that's 7 p.m., whether that's maybe not 7 p.m., but around 9 p.m., the episode is on. It's up and it's available for me to watch, and it's not the only show that Apple TV has done that. So kudos to them for that. Just giving me easy access to it. I guess as a streaming company, you don't have to put your numbers down, so that's why they get away with it. But every company could do that. HBO used to do it on holiday weekends where they would drop the episode 3 days early and give it to you on Friday so that at least you could still watch it and not have to worry about watching it on Sunday. I think it's a great idea. I think it's just, if we're going to have this relationship where I'm giving you money on a monthly basis, treat me good. Treat a young nigga good. You know what I mean? Like, making a young nigga feel good, in my opinion. Then we have Rings of Power, which is Lord of the Rings show. It's very interesting that Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones is happening at the same time because they're both that kind of fantastical fantasy worlds, even though they are very different. And they're happening at the same time. One is kind of very polished, one is very pop, one is very grunge, and one very metal and dirty. Um, and maybe people are kind of shitting on Rings of Power, I'm hearing, but it stands up for itself. The money that they've put into the show clearly shows itself. And it is a good storyline. If you're into Lord of the Rings, I feel like it lives up to the Lord of the Rings, at least the Peter Jackson and the Hobbit movies. Then Fridays, we get more wrestling, and then we get Real Time with Bill Maher, which is also more political stuff. I have nothing more to say about it. It's good for me to watch. Do I promote it? Maybe. Last current series that I'm really going to talk about is Epic Adventures with Birdie Gregory, which is a adventure, the show about an explorer. Birdie Gregory is the dude's name who has epic adventures. One episode, he went to go shoot humpback whales, but he had to go to Antarctica, and there's this whole, just the journey of it is incredible. And it's a National Geographic show. It's very much in line with National Geographic, but maybe it's just me, being that the fact that I don't live in a house with cable and I have it for over 5 years. I forgot shows like this exist, or at least not. I didn't forget that they exist, but I at least forgot how they work. And I also it never dawned on me how they would modernize. And now they're talking about the drones that they're using. Now that they're talking about the equipment that they're using, and it's great. I've only watched 2 of them, and part of the reason that is yes, I want to slowly consume them, which is actually the exact opposite of how I feel about most things, because I just want to gobble it down. If you haven't seen Manic Music Media Monday #5, Overconsumption at its finest, I very much get into that. But it's also, I get so into it and so anxious and so up and down with it that I have to turn off everything and just focus on that. And I haven't had the hours to do that for 45 minutes for a few weeks, to just really, really shut down. I mean, I do that for almost all of the shows that I've listed. But this is kind of on its own box. It's out of its own schedule. So because it can be so flexible, I haven't been able to just take the time and to make the structure and create for it. 2 specials that we're gonna get into, even though these kind of should be part of the memorial section, but they are really add-ons to other things, is the Obi Wan Kenobi story, which was, what was it called? I think it was A Jedi's Return, which is the Disney Plus special that they did, and it's basically just the behind-the-scenes DVD featurette that you would have gotten if DVD still existed. But they're so good. There's like the second one I'm going to talk about, Marvel Studio Assembled, which is basically the same thing, making Thor: Love and Thunder. I liked it more than I liked actual Love and Thunder, the movie. Spoiler. Did we talk about Thor? I guess we have to, yeah. It came out in the last few months. Spoiler. The movie was alright. A little too goofy. A little bit too campy. Also, just all of the things that should hold weight and that should hold value, that really made you wonder. Disney kind of just skips over these days. They're just like, we don't really want to explain that, and they just move on. Eternals did the same thing. Doctor Strange also did the same thing. But these Disney specials, these Disney Plus specials have been, they make me fall in love with the film even more. They make me fall in love with the character. Such a smart idea to do. And